Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so delighted that you are part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Ghana, Himalaya, wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is here to celebrate the Alycat series. I can't wait for you to meet Alysson Bourque. Before we invite Alysson into the studio, we want to let you know we have a brand new Reading with Your Kids certified great read. Carlisle's Trumpet by Pamela C. Rice is an absolutely spectacular picture book. Carlisle is a young boy who loves to play his trumpet. He loves playing his trumpet outside, and he soon builds an adoring audience of cows, birds, and chickens. The chickens love his playing so much they lay more eggs. As much as he loves playing for them, Carlisle dreams of playing on a bigger stage. His mom encourages him to keep playing and assures him that his dream will come true. And it does. There's so much to love about this book. We absolutely love the breathtaking illustration. This is a picture book that you and your kids should take a picture walk through before reading the story. We love the many lessons the story teaches, lessons about sharing your gifts, being part of a community, and working hard to make your dreams come true. Carlisle's Trumpet by Pamela C. Rice would be a great addition to any family library, and we are happy to add it to our Certified Great Read Hall of Fame. Joining us right now from the beautiful state of Louisiana, where she is awaiting the arrival of a hurricane. So we have to get this interview in quickly. She's the author of the Alycat series, a really, really cool series that you and your family want to check out. Please welcome to the show, Alysson Bourque. Alysson, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. You know, Alysson is very active on social media. I see all of her posts. She's doing some really neat things with the Alycat series. First, tell us who Alycat is.
So Alycat is a character from the Alycat series. It was started in 2016. So just a little background info. I have a teaching degree, and then I went off to law school, and I practiced law for about 7 years. And so as I did that, I decided, you know what? I'm not as happy as I can be. Let me take some time off, spend some time with my children, and be at home with them for a while. So we did that, and my kids love reading books at night, and we love reading to them. And so I started reading books from our bookshelf every single night, and we ran out of books to read, and they said, Mom, we need more books for our bookshelf. And, you know, I wanted to be frugal, and I wanted to, you know, because I wasn't working at the time, and I said, well, how about I just write you a book? And they jumped for joy, and they were so ecstatic about that, and that was my aha moment. I feel like they believed in me, so I believed in me. And I've always loved to write. I love writing poems. And of course I would write trial briefs as an attorney. And so I ended up, my husband and I, we put them to bed, and then I went downstairs and just started writing the Alycat series. It just came out on paper. And so Alycat is kind of a character who resembles myself as a child. I used to love to daydream and throw myself into these wild stories. And she's just a cat character who loves to imagine herself in situations. She loves dessert. She loves to sing, dance, and of course she gets into little situations that she has to solve and get through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so neat. I'm still just trying to process. You were a teacher, and then you decided to be a lawyer, and no, it's like, hey, why don't you do something with your life? That's really, I love that the Alycat series was born out of you and your children's spending time together. We talk here on the podcast about all the wonderful benefits that you get from reading with your kids, and we know that kids develop vocabulary, they learn how to read, they can learn empathy. But the reason I started the podcast is because I think the things that are harder to kind of quantify, the lifelong conversations that start when we read with our kids, those are the most valuable things. And I never would thought that, a book series and a career as an author would come out of sitting down and telling stories with your kids.
Yes. And so as a mom and a licensed educator, I really believe that stories can help kids learn. Mm-hmm. And books serve as a tool and a resource for us to be able to talk to our kids about topics and maybe situations that, instead of us lecturing them and saying, okay, you need to not call this person a name, or you need to not fight with your sister. You can simply read a book to them that has the same issue and show them the morals and the values through literature, instead of us always putting ourselves out as a disciplinarian. We can actually divert that and use books as tools. And they learn from seeing characters in stories. It's so easy for them to put themselves in the character's shoes and learn, okay, I can handle this differently by doing this. And so I think it's really great. And as a mom and as a teacher and even as an attorney, I want children to learn lessons through literature and characters and good books and with good morals and good values.
Yeah. Some people might think, oh, this is great, where this is a new way of teaching kids, through stories and books. But in reality, this is the way human beings have learned throughout history.
Exactly. I mean, it started with the Bible, and then you go on to law school. For me, I learned with a book, with all these code books. We learn as adults, we learn as children, our lessons through the written word and literature. And being able to read it, we comprehend it differently than hearing it verbally, I feel.
Yeah. Talk a little bit more about what you think it is that, when we're looking at an issue, when a child is looking at an issue through the eyes of a character in a book, why do you think it's easier for them to absorb that lesson than it is for when you're, pointing your finger at them saying, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that?
I think if they can relate to the character in any form or fashion, they feel like, well, this is normal, and it's okay if I have this issue, and there's a kid or a cat around the same age as me that maybe had this issue, and I can relate to it. We find a sense of comfort knowing that we are all in the same situation. I know with COVID, some comfort that I took in it is that we are all in this together, and so with books and literature, I think kids can look at a book character like Alycat and say, okay, she's kind of around my age and she deals with feeling left out with her friends, and I feel that way and I can relate to that. But as adults, it's really hard to put ourselves in a situation with someone who is older than us,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there, as I understand it, there are 4 books right now in the Alycat series. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah. Tell us about each. The first one is Alycat and the Friendship Friday.
The first one was Alycat and the Thursday Dessert Day.
Ah,
so
okay.
that was the first book that I wrote whenever I put my kids to bed and I came downstairs. My children have a milk protein allergy. And so when they would go to school, sometimes they would have ice cream given to the entire school, and they would sometimes feel left out. I mean, they were always given a dessert. Maybe it was a popsicle, maybe it was fruit, but they didn't feel included. And so in Thursday Dessert Day, Alycat feels left out because she actually was daydreaming, missed the bell ringing, and so she was late and missed out on dessert day. So she decides to solve her own problem and make her own dessert and bring it for show and tell on Friday. And so they all get to have dessert again on Friday, and they all get the same wonderful dessert. She makes popcorn popsicles. And so each book has a lesson and a way for the character and for children reading it to solve their own problems, not to just sit there and worry and get out there and solve it, figure it out, use the help of imagination and friends, and you can solve those problems. Of course, Alycat in the Monday Blues, she doesn't have a talent for the talent show, and by helping her friend Spotty with his talent, she discovers a special talent of herself. And then Friendship Friday, she feels left out with her friends. She doesn't have someone to sit with on the bus for their field trip, and she ends up finding a way to include everyone. Instead of just having a best friend, she finds a way to make these friendship bracelets where you can keep adding on to the bracelet with these little paper clips. And the more friends you have, the more that you can include on your bracelet. And it's a way of showing kids that you can expand your friendship circles, and you can have friendships in different circles, and you could all be friends. And of course, Tournament Tuesday is written as a kind of like a reflection on my son, who is an avid golfer. He started playing golf when he was 3 years old. He is currently 9 years old, and he's played in the U.S. Kids Golf World Championship 3 times already.
Wow.
And so he works really hard. He practices, and he just is so dedicated. And I wrote that book as a kind of a tool to show kids that you don't need luck to accomplish your goals. You just need to work hard and practice and have perseverance.
Wow. So many great lessons to learn. I love that idea in Friendship Friday that, you know, that there's no limit to how many friends that you can have, that love and friendship is this thing that actually the more you give it away, the more you have. It's like that magical thing.
Right. And sometimes you don't have to wait for friends to come to you. You need to put yourself out there and explore different friendships, try new things, and know that it's okay to have friends with different interests. It's really important for kids to realize that your best friend doesn't have to like the same colors as you or like the same sports as you. You can have friends from different backgrounds and different type of activities.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that we've talked about on the show is that there are a lot of parents that none of us want our kids to fail. None of us want our kids to get hurt or to experience sadness. But it's a part of life. Our kids are going to fail. They're going to get bumps and bruises. They're going to be sad. They're going to miss friends and break up with friends and whatnot. A lot of parents do all they can to prevent that for their kids, to kind of bubble wrap their kids. Is that something that you noticed as a teacher and when you were working with kids?
Yes, absolutely. I've noticed a lot of parents, including myself, because it is a struggle to have that fine line of protecting your kids, still providing them with a safety net, but allowing them to fail. And so I feel like I'm learning, and my husband, we're learning every single day of how to give a little and still provide, but also trust them. And so when I was teaching school, it was tough. It was a huge array of different types of parents, and, you know, they need to provide that safety net, but they almost need to not let the children know that there's a safety net. You know, allow them to fail. If they don't finish their homework, let them get that consequence. It's not the end of the world, but they will learn so much from that, and it will help them in the future. These small little lessons will help when they become adults, and the big lessons of, you know, having a job and being prepared.
Yeah. I just had this flashback when my son was a kid. My wife was extremely protective of my son, and he expressed an interest in learning how to sail. And so we found a great sailing program that got the kids out into Boston Harbor and in their sailboats. And my wife was terrified of it. And when she would drive him over, and she would sit and she would watch the lesson from the car with the pair of binoculars, and I'm like, what are you going to do if he falls out of the, what are you going to, you can't swim. How are you going to help him? But you're right. There's, we want to care for our kids, but letting them fail, sometimes it's the best thing to do because they grow from it.
Yes, and I am at fault for that also because I'm, some people call me a helicopter mom, but I've learned to kind of let go a little bit as they get a little bit older. And, with writing books, it has kind of taught me to allow myself to fail. And so that can kind of filter down to my children. And because when you write a story, everybody reads it and you are putting your heart and soul and you're opening yourself up to criticism. And it was tough the first year. And, now I do presentations for adults about allowing yourself to fail. And I have to remind myself too, it's okay to fail. Give yourself permission to do it. And children need to see that we as adults are also giving ourselves permission to fail because that's how we learn. And then, sometimes the more you put yourself out there, the braver you get, the more confident you get, the more you learn. And it's all these lessons that you really are withholding if you don't just put yourself out there, even if it's writing a book, reading in front of people, reading in front of your kids. Do it. Allow yourself to be open and even though it can be very, you can be very fearful of failing, do it because you'll learn from it.
Yeah. Well, it must have taken you a great deal of courage. We were mentioning the fact that you were a teacher, then you became a lawyer, and then you gave that up to spend time with your kids and became an author. A lot of folks are, they have all these different interests and they invest time to become, say, a teacher. And they're there, but there's a part of them that wants to become a lawyer, but it's like, I can't do that. There's more investment. I'm here as a teacher. I've already spent 5 or 6 or 7 years in that retirement system. I just don't have the courage to make the leap. Where did you find the courage to make those leaps in your life?
When I started seeing that with every different thing I did, I would meet new people that would come into my life that would make an impact on my life, or I would learn something new. That gave me the drive to keep exploring new things because everything that I have done, let's say as an author, I have utilized my teaching degree and my law degree, and the people that I met along the way have inspired me. So you just build from it. You just keep building your life in a way that makes you happy. And when things just kept kind of falling into place with the book publishing journey that I was on, then I knew that was the right thing to do. And it's really tough to just rely on the unknown, but I just basically rely on my gut feeling that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it can be tough. Yeah. It can be really tough for adults to change and to go through something new. And that's that fear of the unknown. But if you put yourself out there and do it and try it, what do you have to lose?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things I was on your website, and it really is a great website, and we're going to encourage folks to check it out. But there's something there that I found that is really unique, and I just wanted to give you a chance to talk a little bit about it. It's the Friendship Friday Story Walk. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah. So, with COVID, we're all trying to find a way to adapt. And I have such a soft spot in my heart for children. And with my own children, I know that they're going to be going outside a lot with their mask on at school. Some people are not at school. I wanted to give readers and children an opportunity to still experience children's literature. And so with the help of a wonderful librarian, her name is Paula at J. Wallace James, she kind of gave me this idea to do these story walks at schools. And so now I'm making these, they're pretty much like these signs that you stick in the ground about 6 feet apart. And there's about 7 of them for each story. And it's just the storyboards. And so children can go outside. If it's at recess or if it's at maybe outside in the park, they can go along and they can read each story 6 feet apart and then come back because it's double-sided and read the Alycat stories. So they still have stories in their lives. And I've put QR codes where they can scan and they can have different things like the Alycat songs, the Alycat shuffle that plays, and book trailers they can watch. And it's something really great that they can do and still have authors and children's literature a part of their lives, because we're not able to do that right now, do our author visits and go in the schools and share our love for literature. And so I felt like this was a great way for kids to be able to do that at a safe distance and still keep stories alive.
Yeah, that really is a great idea, and it's not a crazy idea. You know, there's some ideas that are so unique. It's like, it's not ready. The world's not ready for this yet. But here in the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville, I've mentioned a couple of times that Reedville, it's a neighborhood in Boston, was the home of the 54th Infantry, which was the first infantry group of black soldiers that fought in the Civil War, and they trained right here in our neighborhood. The playground down the street was their parade grounds, and lining the playground are these little stories that tell little boards, pictures, and text that tell the story of the 54th Infantry. And so you're just taking this and putting that idea, putting your story into it, and giving kids a way to move around, experience the story, be outside, be with their friends, and be safe.
Right. It's such a great experience for them, and they will remember that. They will remember the story. They'll remember their time outside. It gets them doing something other than electronics. And I think it's such a great, sweet idea, and it kind of takes their mind off of some of the other things that are going on in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we want to let folks know where they can find out more about your books and where they can find out about the Friendship Friday Story Walk. So let everybody know your website, please.
So my website is alycatseries.com, ALYCAT series.com. And so all of that information is books and plush toys, the story walks. I also have different YouTube videos with animated videos of Alycat. There's a line dance. Down here in Louisiana, we do lots of line dances. And so we've made a line dance for Alycat, and a lot of fun resources for teachers too on my website.
That's wonderful. And are there other places folks can connect with you online?
Yes. So I have social media on Instagram and Facebook. It's at the Alycat series, and Twitter, I am at Alysson F. Bourque, and you can find me there. The books are also on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, most online retailers too.
Great. We've had a great time speaking to the author of the Alycat series, Alysson Bourque. Alysson, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We will be celebrating Alzheimer's Awareness Day. Renee Schultz will be our guest. She is the author of A Million More Kisses. It's a fascinating conversation. You don't want to miss it. Earlier in the show, you heard us celebrate the fact that Pamela C. Rice's picture book, Carlisle's Trumpet, is our latest Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read. The Certified Great Read program, it's a really wonderful program. We're so proud of it because it has helped so many authors let the world know about their fantastic children's book. You may want to check it out. You can go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the Author Services button at the top of the page. Find out all the different promotional tools that you can take advantage of if your book is named a Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read. Check it out today, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on that Author Services button. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so very wonderful. first, we want to thank our guest, Alysson Bourque. Be sure to check out the Alycat series. Also want to thank my team, starting with my producer, Fatima Khan, my author ambassador, Peggy Cotto. I want to thank my amazing daughter, Alejandra. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me, but most of all, we want to thank you. We're here doing this for you because we really appreciate the fact that you're taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast